Hello, everyone. Welcome to a higher dimension. I'm Gloria Danvers from Gloria Danvers Hypnosis in Orlando, Florida, and I'm your host for a higher dimension. On this podcast, we explore the soul-level side of the human experience through past life memories, spiritual awakenings, psychic intuition, healing through hypnosis, and those strange but meaningful moments in a person's life that shift everything they ever knew. Some weeks will be just you and I, and we'll be digging deep into the mysteries of the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the divine mind. Some weeks I'll be bringing on a guest to share their own extraordinary journey in past life regression, spiritual awakenings, psychic phenomena, interdimensional experiences, and, yes, paranormal encounters. And whether it's their story, or your story, or even my story, the real question is always, what now? What comes next? How do you live differently after a spiritual awakening? How do you manage your life after the curtain of time and memory and spirit is pulled back? Who are you? What do you know now that you didn't know then? If you feel like something inside you is stirring and expanding, or even cracking wide open, you're probably already on your path. We know nothing happens by accident. I've had amazing breakthroughs by understanding that seemingly random information and circumstances are never random. So if you're here listening, chances are you're ready for your own hypnotic journey, your own spiritual awakening, and finding your place in an expanding universe. You can reach me at gloriadanvershypnosis.com for a free consultation. Let's chat about what all of this could mean for you. You'll find this podcast on Apple, Spotify, Podbean, Podchaser, LinkedIn, YouTube, Amazon, and iHeart.com. If you're interested in the subjects that I'm bringing to your table, please hit like and subscribe. Your support can help me take this podcast to the next level. But right now, take a breath, lean in, and let's explore the hidden dimensions of your soul inside and outside the universe and beyond, right here on a higher dimension. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's Gloria, and today I want to tell you a story from the archives of my own awakening. My metaphysical friends love this story and have been asking me to put it out into the public for years. And I feel that some of you will relate to it with the memories of your own awakening. This is not a teaching, just a real story about the time in my life when I was shattered, stripped down to nothing, and a spirit guide named Michael walked in, not with solemn pronouncements, but with humor, sarcasm, and the kind of love I'd never known before. And I wouldn't have understood it if I did. Because here's the thing. Not all guides show up with trumpets and clouds. Not all guides are a mysterious presence in the mist. Some of them pull up a chair, crack a joke, and love you so unconditionally that you stop trying to earn it. And that's how it happened for me. As I said years ago, I had a terrible breakup. At the time, I didn't know what was happening. It was the kind of breakup where you're not just losing the person. You feel like you're losing yourself. And I wasn't just sad. I was barren. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It felt like I had been thrown out of my own country with nothing but the clothes on my back. No passport, no map. Everything I thought about what I had was just stripped away. And in that kind of emptiness, you walk around with your ears half closed and your heart broken wide open. I didn't know that this was a violent shift in vibration for me, and that my old life couldn't contain the energy that was spinning through my body and my spirit. There were signs, yeah, of course. I could no longer drink alcohol, couldn't even smell it. And for a girl that loved her whiskey, that was pretty upsetting. I couldn't smoke pot anymore, and I still can't tell you how that happened. It just stopped being a part of my life. And then the breakup. And we weren't really suited to each other, but the heart wants what it wants. This breakup came swiftly, brutally, and I was shattered. And the only way that I could bear the loss was to walk it out. I had to walk it out. My mind was looping the same misery over and over as I walked and I walked. I walked in my neighborhood, at the lake near my house. It didn't really matter where I walked. I didn't pay any attention to my surroundings. I just had to put one foot in front of the other one and keep moving. And that's when he showed up. It wasn't in meditation. It wasn't at a sacred site. I wasn't burning incense or chanting. I wasn't asking for anything except a way out of the pain. And then I heard this voice in my left ear. It was dry, a little sarcastic, kind of light, not booming from the heavens, not, "Thus saith the Lord." It was just there, like someone leaning in with a secret. And this voice did not sound like me at all. It said, "You're not always going to feel like this. Someday you're going to look at this and you're going to understand that it was for the best. That guy is a real shit, and you're better than that." And I said to the voice in my left ear, "But I love him." And the voice said back, "You better love yourself more, because he is not the plan." And I wasn't in a space where I trusted easily. So I just blurted out, "How do I even know you're real?" And without missing a beat, he shot back, "How do you know I'm not?" And that was it. That one line. And something in me cracked open. I literally laughed out loud, which for someone who had been living in kind of this gray, silent hell, that was no small thing. And that was the start. Over the weeks that followed, he became this constant presence. I was still walking every day, only now I had a companion. And I should say that the voice was not coming from outside my ear. It was coming from that space inside my ear, distinctly on the left side. And I say this just as an aside because if you do have the same experience, it will help to identify where it is coming from so that you can separate it from your own thoughts. And now back to the story. He told me his name was Michael. And yes, he said he was an angel. But from the beginning, he refused to let me put him up on a pedestal. I remember goofing around once, starting a prayer with, "Oh, Archangel Michael." And he just burst out laughing in my ear. "Oh, for God's sake," he said, "you don't have to do that. It's ridiculous." He said, "Look, Gloria, I hear that all the time. And it's a little boring. Now, I understand that there are people that need to address me this way. But Gloria, all you have to do is say what you want and get to the point. I'm listening." He would not let me supplicate. I didn't have to be pure or perfect, didn't have to light incense or chant in just the right tone. I only had to be receptive and listen. It wasn't always advice. Most of the time it was comfort. Sometimes you don't need advice. You know what you have to do, but you do need the comfort, and he was there for that. He began to lead me out of my heartbreak. And he said the sweetest things, sometimes in the most offhand way. He would tell me how much he loved me, how beautiful my spirit was, how proud of me he was. Once he told me, "When you come home, we're going to dance in the stars just like we used to." And I had a thought of two orbs of light spinning around each other in the cosmos. It was a beautiful vision. And I remember asking him in my usual sarcastic way, "So, am I the only person you've attached yourself to? Because you seem to be here a lot. Aren't there other people that need your divine and heavenly presence more than me?" And he laughed. I mean, this angel laughed a lot. And he said, "Gloria, I'm everywhere, and I can do everything. I hear all, and I can do all instantaneously while still giving you my deepest attention. I am so vast and so deep that you cannot comprehend me. You cannot comprehend what that is in your current human form." And I believed him. Not because it was some grand, booming declaration, because the way he said it was so matter of fact, like, "Well, yeah, of course." During that time, I was still learning how to trust my own intuition. I always knew that I was on a spiritual journey, but when I look back at that time, I realized that I was literally a preschooler in the grand scheme of the universe. And so I still wasn't sure, despite Michael's presence and reassurances, that this was what was really happening. So I would ask him for signs. If something is meant to be, give me a sign. If it's going to be okay, send me a feather. And every time I asked, he did. And every time, things worked out. I trusted that. I looked for that. I felt taken care of. But then, over the years, I grew. And it seemed like a long time, but in retrospect, it really was just only about 4 or 5 years for me to reach a point where I didn't need the proof anymore. I could feel it for myself. I knew it for myself. I didn't need that validation anymore. So one day I told him, "Michael, I don't need you to send me feathers anymore. I'm good. I get it. I understand." And with that dry humor of his, he sent me an image in my mind of himself sitting there dejected with naked wings, kind of like chicken wings, as if to say, "Good, because I have pulled out all my feathers for you, and I'm about done." And I laughed so hard. And I thought, yeah, I get it now. What I got, and what I believe the message was, is that each sign was literally a piece of my messenger. That nothing was random, but completely by design. Nothing was ordinary. And that every sign and circumstance is holy energy. Over the years, I've learned what leveling up is. I've learned what happens when your vibration increases. I've learned that things fall away, that life gets dark, that people go, that you are alone. But I have also learned that this is a gestation period from the universe. And at the very moment that you felt that you were the most alone, the very moment you felt that that was all there is, that was the moment that the universe was spinning in motion, creating a life that was a higher vibration, a life that could sustain a higher vibration. And what was really wonderful is through all my changes, all my growth, Michael never went away. He's still here, still warm, still funny, still right there in my left ear. But I don't lean on him the way I used to. When I do check in with him, he tells me how proud of me he is, and how much he loves me. How all I have to do is say, "Are you still there?" There is not even a half a second before I receive an affirmative and loving answer. But I don't need that validation anymore. I know he's there. I feel that. I feel his presence. And more importantly, I know that I am doing his work and that we are truly partners. And that's what I want people to understand about guides. They meet you where you are. When you're broken and empty, they will flood you with signs and comfort and proof, because that's what you can hold on to. They are not separate from you. They know that you have had enough separation. And if you allow it, they will give you the intimacy that you crave. They will be the support that you've always needed. And as you grow, they will step back. Not because they've left, but because you no longer need the training wheels. And for me, it was never about worshiping him or seeing him as above me. He wouldn't allow it. He made sure that I knew that we were in a partnership, that spirit can be infinite and still sit on the couch with you making sarcastic comments. So if you've got a guide, or you're wondering if you do, know this: they might not show up the way that you expect. They might be warm and funny. They might tease you. They might meet you in your most difficult moment and speak in your left ear like an old friend. And for that, you do not have to be worthy. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to bend the knee and supplicate, "Oh, Archangel." You only have to be open. So sometime, when it's quiet, when your heart is looking for answers, just listen. Not with the ears that you use for everyday noise, but with that deeper inner ear, the one that catches the whispers. And if you hear a voice that makes you smile, that knows you already, that doesn't need your ceremony or your polish, well, maybe that's your Michael. As he said, he is everywhere. He sees and hears everything, and he is wholeheartedly and completely present for each person that calls for help. Maybe you call him something else. Maybe you call her by another name. They come in many ways with many faces. The only mystery that they have is the mystery that you give them, because they don't want to be mysterious. They want to be the love that you need, the guidance that you crave, and the presence that lets you know you're never alone. So whoever your guide is to you, go there. Ask those questions. Make those jokes. Be yourself. They know who you are anyway. You can't hide from them, and they don't want you to. They don't want you to come begging on your knees. They want you to simply accept the help, the intimacy, and the love because you deserve it. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to be anything other than what you are to be given that help, to be loved the way that you need to be loved, and to grow. So listen for your guide. Listen for your Michael. And if someday, sometime, he offers you a feather, take it. I didn't really use all of them up. There is an infinite number there, as there are butterflies and dragonflies and cardinals and every other sign that you're looking for. Look for them. Take them to your heart and let your Michael in. He or she is waiting with a joke, a smile, a song, a dance, whatever you need. And even in your darkest times, remember that you are vibrating at a speed that can no longer sustain your old life. But there is a presence there for you that will help you navigate your way out of the dark and into the light. Michael wants me to tell you that you have never been alone, and that when you come home, as you surely will, then you will also be with us, dancing in the cosmos as the light that you truly are, joyous, perfect, whole, and complete. So thanks for joining me today and listening to my story. And what I wish for you is, no matter how your guide comes to you, that you see your guide, that you listen to your guide, and that you know that you are endlessly loved in this universe and beyond. And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that I've managed to pique your interest, raise your curiosity, give you something to think about, teach you something that you didn't know before, or send you down a major rabbit hole. If you're curious about what I do, if you would like to schedule a session with me, shoot me an email. Go onto my website, gloriadanvershypnosis.com, and book a free consultation. Let's discover something about you that you didn't know. Let's open some doors for you that you didn't know were there. I'll be back next week. And until then, stay curious. Stay open to all the things that come in for you through a higher dimension.